All right, what's good? What's popping? What's popping? What's good? So, word in the street is that Fresh and Fit podcast got demonetized by YouTube, right? Their platform got demonetized by YouTube/Google, in which nobody should be surprised about. It seems as if those members of that podcast was shocked that YouTube demonetized their platform. But like I just said, if anybody have or if anybody used at least half of a percentage of their brain, wouldn't be shocked at this. But this whole situation shows how a lot of so-called black males on social media do not really understand the power of do not understand what political power is, because if they did, they wouldn't be shocked about that. A lot it seems as if a lot of so-called black males on social media who who create content, complain about females, actually think that they're powerful and actually think that they're making some sort of difference out there in the world by talking shit on the internet. But then reality hits them and things like this happens. See, a lot of black males online don't really understand how the female gender in America as a protected group have more political power over them. And that's just the truth. That's just the truth. So when you go out there on a public platform and you dedicate your platform in critiquing a group of people with more political leverage than you, then you and your platform will be in danger of being canceled. And that's what we've seen for the past year and a half of a lot of people being quote unquote canceled, right? Or in this case, demonetized or canceled or their account suspended. This is due to the group that you're critiquing having more political leverage than you do, thus having more power than you do, thus has an advantage of removing your content away. So what's the solution, black males? The solution is, in order to avoid a situation like that where you can speak freely, you have to put yourself and or your group in a position of political power. And black males have failed to do that. Meanwhile, black males on here claiming that what they're doing is actually having some sort of positive effect out there in the world. But we see that's bullshit. If there's a lesson to be learned by the Fresh and Fit podcast being demonetized by YouTube, it is that so-called black males must put themselves in a position of political power in order for so they can in order to prevent things like this from happening. Because on the flip side, right, for the most part, you have a lot of these female channels, right, where these female content creators gain a lot of popularity by just making content talking a whole lot of shit about the male gender. And you rarely see anything happening to their channels. But the thing is that they live in a society where they have the political leverage to make these to make these criticisms about the male gender, all because all while claiming to be victims, because you got to understand that in this society, females are always viewed as victims. So whenever females critique males, is viewed as them being supposed quote unquote victims of male brutality, thus criticizing the brutality that they face on the hands of the male gender. This is what's going on in the world. So females are able to get away with that. It's not fair. See, so therefore, females are able to get away with critiquing the male gender. And like I said, that's not fair. It's not fair, but that's the world we live in. But when you see channels like Fresh and Fit and a whole lot of other channels created by males who critique the female gender, you see that YouTube have a history of being quick to suspend or demonetize these channels. Well, once again, you talk about a group who lack political power, but yet making content critiquing another group with more political power than they do, thus having more leverage than they do, thus having more favor from society than they do, thus being seen as the victims and have been seen as victims. Thus, those in power will take their side. You know, like the old saying goes, it's chess, not checkers. And it's like what you see with a lot of so-called black males on social media is that they're playing chess with absolutely no strategy. They're in the game on the chessboard, but they have absolutely no strategy on how to win the game. But then when they lose, they're shocked. What up, y'all? What's going on, you guys on the in the chat? Shaka Nulu, what's up? Business Talk with K, what's up? Simply Deep 1985, what's up? Culture Invasion podcast, what's up? And once again, like I said before, it's not fair that things are this way, but nonetheless, that's the reality that we live in. That's the reality that we live in, man. What up, man of tomorrow? Yeah, simply their fault. Simply their fault. And it further shows you that SBE content doesn't pay off in the long run. In the long run, SBE content doesn't pay off. And the fact that you have adult males who 100% rely on making content critiquing the opposite sex, it shows you how it shows you how unaccomplished these motherfuckers are. It's one thing if you a content creator and you do it as just a side gig or just as a hobby, right? But when you 100% rely on making content, like, I mean, this is what I say, man. If you a full-time content creator, you a bum ass nigga. You a fucking bum. Unless if you're making millions or at least six figures per month off of being a full-time content creator. Now, you do have content creators who are actually wealthy, or I'll say who are actually rich off of making content. And that's very few, that's few in between. The overall majority of full-time content creators, especially on YouTube, are not making that type of money. They're some bum ass niggas. So the fact that you a grown ass man, supposed to be a grown ass man, and you place yourself in a position to be a full-time content creator where the only dollars you make is off of making videos, you a fucking bum ass nigga. But then on the flip side, also, you think you can make a full-time living off of making content, critiquing a group of people with more political power and more political leverage in this society than you do, then you're not playing the game with any type of intelligence whatsoever. You're not being smart. What's up, unreasonable man? What's up? Unreasonable man says, absolutely. A lot of these guys see themselves as equal to women. That and of itself is a feminist concept. Pervasive. Yeah. Man of Tomorrow says organizing car crashes can simply be stopped by putting up more streetlights up. Exactly. Exactly, Man of Tomorrow. Exactly. Exactly. Organizing car crashes can simply be stopped by putting up more streetlights. Yeah. I like that. I like that. I like what MOT put up. Yo, yeah. And that's what's going on. But then you have some people who say that blackmail content online is effective out in the real world. It's being very effective out in the real world. You have some people saying that the Black Manosphere 2.0 version is very effective out there in the world. Now, don't get me wrong. Fresh and Fit are not members of the so-called Black Manosphere, right? But at the same time, at the same time, my criticisms that I just put out for Fresh and Fit are also the same criticisms that I can make for a large portion of the so-called Black Manosphere currently. Because if Fresh and Fit, who's a way bigger platform than 99.9999999% of the so-called Black Manosphere, can be demonetized, what do you think will happen to the majority of the so-called Black Manosphere when they're guilty of doing the same thing? And this has happened before. If you guys actually watched some of my old videos, especially my video called The History of the Black Manosphere Part 1, I spoke about how the 1.0 generation of the Black Manosphere, who was 10 times more intelligent than this 2.0 version, went through something similar. But you see, the 1.0 version of the Black Manosphere did a smart move. We established our own website. So now, here you have the Fresh and Fit podcast, and then you have a lot of content creators from the Black Manosphere 2.0 version who actually think that they could remain within another person's website and critique a group of people with more political power than they do and think that they can survive in long term by doing some shit like that. Fresh and Fit being demonetized, Tommy Sotomayor having his account suspended day in and day out, and other big channels being suspended and or demonetized and or deplatformed should show the Black Manosphere that the same, if not worse, can happen to you. See, motherfuckers are so goddamn dumb, they don't even understand the power of being independent and establishing your own website for so you can actually maintain your own freedom of speech. You actually think you could go on Google and just be fully reliant on Google and Google AdSense dollars and the goddamn super chats and all this other bullshit for the long term, and to fully dedicate your content in criticizing a group of people who are more protected than you and who have more political power than you do. It's so stupid. And then at the same time, not realizing or refuse to acknowledge that in order to balance the scale, you must place yourself in a position of political power also. I'm telling you, these niggas is dumb. What up, Tampa Supreme? What up, Spawn the Programmer? Yeah, you become a slave to the algorithm. When you're relying on, when you are a full-time content creator, which means that you have no real career, no real skills in the real world, right? You become a slave to the algorithm and you become fully reliant on another person's website who have the power to suspend your channel at any given time. You see, Google can suspend my channel right now, and it's not hurting me financially because you know why? Because I don't do this for a living. I don't make money out of this shit. I don't make a dime out of this motherfucker. But a large portion of content creators within this space cannot say the same thing. Fresh and Fit cannot say the same thing. Their pockets are hurting right now, even though they're on other platforms and possibly making a decent amount of change in these other platforms. I mean, they're on Fresh and Fit are on rumble.com, they're on Twitch, and they possibly on other websites, but I know they're making some dollars on off of Twitch and Rumble. But I believe that they've made a larger percentage of their money from Google, who demonetized them. Not deplatformed them, who demonetized them, right? And it's hurting their pockets. But yeah, Spawn the programmer, they've become slaves to the algorithm. When people are fully reliant on, well, excuse me, when people are full-time content creators and they're fully reliant on another person's website in order for them to make a living. That is a miserable life to live. What up, Bronze Bird? What up, Business Talk with K? He says, Business Talk with K says, most people on YouTube think a large subscriber count is winning in real life. If you ain't starting a business or bidding for government contracts, you are missing out. Exactly. Exactly. You know, only a complete loser will think that internet fame is somehow winning in real life. Only a complete loser will think about that because being a content creator is not an actual skill that you can take with you all over the world. You cannot go to a company in, I'll say, London, and write on a resume and say, "Hey, I was a content creative on YouTube for this many amount of years." Like, what type of skills as being a content creator on YouTube that you somehow develop is going to benefit that company, you know? But someone can say, "Hey, my name is Kay. I've owned and I was a founder of these different companies. in which I was successful in in winning all these different government contracts, in which my company have grossed a profit margin of this many millions of dollars. So now your skill in actually being able to win over contracts can benefit another company. I'm just giving an example. Well, not in the so-called black manosphere. If somebody's a content creator within the so-called black manosphere, they won't even do good they won't even do good in being in a public relations department of any company. This is when talking shit on YouTube goes wrong while being dumb enough to place yourself in a position to become a full-time content creator. I'm telling you, man, these motherfuckers is dumb. Once again, if anyone, especially so-called black males, would learn what would are going to learn anything from Fresh and Fit being demonetized, it is that going online and talking shit or critiquing or criticizing the opposite sex who have more political power than you do doesn't go anywhere. What black males should have been doing, all right, is utilize platforms like YouTube and others to get like-minded men to organize together politically in order to actually create policies that the black male collective can benefit, or the male collective in general can benefit from, in order to reduce the systematic inequality that you have between males and females. As far as as far as certain things such as I'll say a lot of these divorce, well, not these divorce laws, but a lot of these alimony laws, a lot of these laws that these different states have pertain to alimony. Because in this day and age, alimony slash spousal support shouldn't exist. It shouldn't exist at this point in time. When you do your history, when it comes to spousal support slash alimony, most states created these laws at a time when females did not have the economic they did not have like the job or economic opportunities that they have today. So therefore, for the most part, a lot of females relied on their husbands in order to make a living. So therefore, at that time, if they were to have a divorce, who would they rely on in actually having a roof over their heads, food in their belly, clothes over their back, etc., etc.? So therefore, that's when states adopted these laws at that time when it's needed. But in today's time, it's not needed, especially with the type of opportunities, especially with the career opportunities, job opportunities, education opportunities that a lot of females in America in today's society have. It's not needed. So therefore, a great argument can be made for males to organize together and get rid of alimony class spousal support, or make it more balanced where any male and anybody, well, not anybody within any gender can receive alimony spousal support. Now, granted, There's certain states that have already done that, like California, North Carolina, shit like that. So I'm just giving an example of what males can do if they organize together politically to create policies that would balance the scale systematically between males and females, especially between so-called black males and black females, or not just balance the scales, but also create policies that would give black males that would benefit black males even more in this society because black males as a demographic have been and are still very much disenfranchised. I mean, especially black males on here who swear that they're smart, who believe that they have all this wisdoms, all this different knowledge and wisdom, all this understanding, but yet cannot organize together in order to place policies, to place more stricter stipulations when it comes to 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 prejudices when it comes to when it comes to companies hiring people, right? Because black males still face a lot of prejudice when it comes to being hired for fucking job opportunities. So what about organizing together and placing policies in place that's put stricter stipulations on racist hiring practices that have been proven to keep so-called black males in the position to have the highest unemployment rate out of all demographics of people in America. What about that? What about black males organizing together politically to create more policies in place in order to help improve or put stricter stipulations on the bias of the US education system? Because when you do your research on the public education system in the United States, it has a history of, I'll say for lack of a better word, over disciplining, for lack of a better word, black male students than any other demographic of students. When you do your research, there was a study that I've read. This might be like 1 or 2 years ago from UCLA. It was a study from UCLA where they did the research amongst thousands of schools across the United States and showed how black male students were primary targets of teachers when it comes to disciplining students. And they came to find out, UCLA came to the people who conducted this research from UCLA came to find out that a lot of times, a lot of reasons why black males from these different schools were primarily targeted for disciplinary action was due to how the black male image, due to how a lot of these teachers view black males in general to be criminals and just wild animals, and how a lot of students from other demographics, especially white male students, are actually given a pass when it comes to them doing things that they're not supposed to be doing. So the black male collective, right, especially on the internet, should be more organized, or I won't say more organized. I'll say they should be organized politically in putting an end, or at least drastically reducing these types of things that have placed black males in a position to be the most disenfranchised group of people across America, maybe outside of the Native Americans. If you want to separate them from black males, because you know how people say, black people or the true Native Americans, stuff like that. I'm not trying to say that that's not true or whether or not it's true. I'm just saying, if you want to separate Native Americans from quote unquote black males, then I can say that black males are the most disenfranchised group of people in America outside of the Native American male. Yeah, that is, to a degree, that is true. To the degree that is true. But at the same time, though, you cannot be a powerful collective without individuals within the collective working on themselves individually to be powerful individuals. Because before any group of people can be a strong collective, each individual have to be strong individuals first. So individuality, or wor- black males working on themselves individually, has an important place. But once you've done that, then the next step is, how can each individual come together as a strong collective? That's right. These black males on YouTube are only motivated by money, not integrity. Yeah, yeah. You're only motivated by money, how many subscribers they get, how many views they get. And they're not motivated by any type of integrity, which goes to show you how much, which goes to show you the reason why they make these different videos, and they display little to no integrity whatsoever. When they talk about this negotiation table, I mean, the fact that in 2023 you have a group of adult males who are still complaining about Keisha, aka a certain sect of females that they shouldn't even deal with that they shouldn't even be dealing with in the first place, shows you that they lack integrity. The fact that they're still complaining about that in 2023, shows you that they lack integrity, because any adult male who have one iota of integrity will understand that there is a certain group of females that they should stay the hell away from, because they understand that associating themselves with such females is not going to benefit them in the long run. Any male who have one iota of integrity will understand that there's a certain sect of females who are unable to satisfy them outside of sexual pleasure. Therefore, you can't you can't expect to have any type of dealings with them. And you can't expect to, and you don't even try to change them. You leave them alone and you move forward with your life, and you place yourself in a position where you're in a better environment where you see a better crop of females, and you surround yourself with those types of females who actually have some sort of substance amongst them. But the fact that in 2023 you still got these niggas making videos complaining about hoes shows you that they have no integrity. They have none. And they're using this content in complaining about hoes in order to manipulate the younger generation of males to get the younger generation of males to follow them, because they view these younger generation of males who sadly happens to be members of their audience as a cash cow. And as a result, they have to keep these younger generation of males in a position of being mad at a group of females that they should be ignoring, and then pretending to provide them with a solution when they're only providing them with the placebo. And if anyone knows anything about a placebo, they'll know that a placebo doesn't solve anything. It just gives you the impression that your problem is being solved. So they give them a placebo, and then in exchange, their audience gives them some cash. And when that placebo wears out, the viewing audience go right back to them for some more placebos. And in exchange, these content creators get some money, because these a lot of these motherfuckers are nothing but losers in real life who rely on this shit full time in order for them to eat. This is the type of shit we got here, man. Right. The black male trauma bonding hustle. Exactly. Niggas is just remixing hoteps at this point. Well, they've been done that. Right, 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 right. These motherfuckers are being like the male version of Mary J. Blige, telling Keisha, "I can love you, I can love you better than Pookie. I can love you, I can love you better than Ray Ray." You know what I'm saying? Shit. You know, obviously I must keep my day job because I can't sing for shit, but you get the picture. you know, you know what I'm saying? Hold up for one moment. Hold on for a minute. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back, right? Yeah, that's gonna that you know what? That's gonna be my new thing, man. When I hear SBE content, I'm gonna be like, I can love you. I can love you better than Pookie. I can love you. I can love you better than Ray Ray. We got to start singing that shit when we hear these bitch ass niggas. You know what I'm saying? When they start crying and complaining about Keisha, you know? Hell yeah. We got to start singing that shit, you know? But I don't know. It just behooves me when you have individuals who place themselves in the position to be full-time content creators and being fully reliant on going on another person's website and think that they can make a long-term career out of critiquing a group of people that have more political power than they do, and think that they could last for a very long time by doing such a thing. That shit is stupid. See, making videos where the majority or all of your videos are totally reliant on critiquing the opposite sex is not going to get you very far long term. Now, I'm not saying to not critique the opposite gender because, of course, I've made content doing the same. I'm not saying don't do it at all. But what I'm saying is that when your channel is when your channel is fully dedicated and just doing that, and you're not, and your channel is not based on other aspects that black males should be paying attention to, where, if your channel is not based on other aspects of life that black males should be paying attention to, you just talking about this whole relationship shit and just critiquing the opposite gender on another website that is very politically correct, you're just placing yourself in a position to have your channel flagged and suspended by YouTube. That's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That is very true, the conscious conservative. That's very true, right? He said it's funny how these same content creators shit on blue and white collar workers yet cry when they are demonetized. Right. I've heard that. I've literally heard content creators actually talk shit about people who actually have real jobs. And they'll make dumbass comments such as, well, you see, I'm making content, I'm making this much money per month. Meanwhile, you have to work a job. And then when I hear that type of shit, I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. People that work a job actually have a fucking skill that they can take anywhere around the world. People that have a job don't have to worry about donations. They don't have to beg for donations because people that have a job are entitled to a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks because they've put their hours in when they give their labor. See, in this type of shit, on YouTube, you're not really entitled to shit because YouTube can take you down for any fucking reason. But when you work a job, especially if you're unionized, right? If you're unionized, it's very hard for a person to get fired unless if the person really did some dumbass shit where they're literally caught breaking the fucking rules. Outside of that, if a person is unionized, especially if a blue collar worker is unionized, it's very hard for them to lose their job. Meanwhile, They're guaranteed to always get a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, so long as they're still working for said company. And meanwhile, they actually have skills that they can take anywhere around the world with them. So how the fuck are you going to poke fun of a fucking blue or white collar worker or blue or white collar employee, especially when a person who makes content on YouTube isn't actually producing any marketable skills that they can take in other parts of the world with them. Making videos on YouTube is not a fucking skill that you can take in other parts of the world with you. You can't put that shit on a fucking resume. Oh, people have said that stupid ass shit. For real, JD Orca, people have said that people get six-figure jobs to impress females. Word. Right. There's nothing wrong with being self-made, and mind you, that being a content creator on YouTube is not an example of being self-made. A self-made is someone who actually open up and own an actual company in the real world where they're actually being effective and doing effective business in the real world. For example, my man, oh, what up, Toya? Hey, what up, Toya? I forgot about you. You know, for example, Business Talk with K. He's self-made. He actually has businesses out there in the real world in which he's getting contracts and actually getting real life clientele out in the real world and not reliant on fucking YouTube to make any money. Man of Tomorrow is an example of being self-made. Well, he actually have his own trucking company that he created off the ground, in which he has government contracts and contracts with other groups of people and other entities in which he's making a lot of money from. And there's other people who have similar stories. These people are self-made. A YouTuber isn't self-made. A YouTuber is just a nigga. Well, I want to say a full-time YouTuber for the most part is just a nigga that's too lazy to actually go out there in the real world and actually produce any skills. So they think that coming on YouTube and talking shit about females and being fully reliant on AdSense dollars, donations, and all sort of bullshit, that's a lazy nigga. What's up, Jacques Nick Kenobi? What's going on? She said, another reason I listen to Productive Black Men, I'm on the GSA website now to explore procurement of government contracts, another stream of income. I love y'all. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. That's smart. That's smart. See, that's smart. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You know, the conscious conservative says, oh, hold on. Conscious conservative. Are you Hollow Point, by the way? This must be Hollow Point, right? Let me know, conscious conservative. You must, you probably did you change your name from Hollow Point to the conscious conservative? Just let me know. But the conscious conservative says it would be different if these content creators were speaking some enlightened and new thought provoking information. They're just regurgitating old talking points. Yeah. Okay. You are Hollow Point. Okay. 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 Yeah. Reading is indeed fundamental. Yeah. Uh, Jacques Nick Kenobi says, you can darn near sell the government anything. Right. Right. Exactly. You could damn near sell anything to the government. But you can't tell niggas that shit. Because according to niggas, the government out to get ya. I mean, don't get it twisted. Of course, there have been instances where different factions of the federal government have done and are still, and to a degree are still doing some fucked up shit to so-called black people. So I'm not denying that, you know. But the thing is that at the same time, you being a U.S. citizen can actually take advantage of money making opportunities that the government has to offer. So it's sort of like it's sort of like the like the way America works is sort of funny, you know? Like the way America is that on one hand, they'll give you a smack over the face, but on another hand, you have the opportunity to take advantage of the money making opportunities that they have to offer. So, like I said, on one hand, they smack you, in another hand, they got some dollars. And what I'm saying is that yes, although I understand how many times we've been smacked on the other hand, let's pay attention to how much money they have on on that right hand, and let not put all our focus on being smacked with the left hand. Now we should focus on how to stop ourselves from being smacked in the left hand. Is so-called black people smart while concentrating on making that money that the government has on their right hand. But you know, you can't tell niggas that shit. You know, that song's in my head now. That song I just made up. I can love you. I can love you. I can love you better than Pookie. I can love you. I can love you. I can love you better than Ray Ray. I can love you. I can love you. I can love you better than Pookie. You know, a nigga in you know, he's in his knees begging Keisha, you know, with his hands out singing. I can love you better than Ray Ray. You know, that song's in my head now and shit. You know, yeah, there are. There are. Yeah, she said, I've been researching since you said this early in the stream. There are plenty of entrepreneur opportunities. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, Jacques, I know that you subscribe to Man of Tomorrow. Man of Tomorrow can further assist you on that if you need help from them. And also, um, what's the brother's name? Business Talk with K. My man, Business Talk with K. He can definitely help you with that. Business Talk with K. He has he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to actually establishing government contracts. He even writes government contracts. So he's very good with that. You know, that's the name of his channel if you're not aware or not already subscribed to his channel. It's just called Business Talk with K. K spelled Kay. Subscribe to his channel. Oh, Prius, you need to go back. You need to watch the playback then. If you're 52 minutes late, you need to go to the playback. All right. You need to go to the beginning. Yes, that is true. That is that is very true. The conscious conservative, they're low key jealous of the Pookies and Ray Rays because they didn't need all the flash to get what they deserve. Yeah, yeah, they didn't. As a matter of fact, shout outs to the Book of Ronan. He said this about a lot of these niggas on here that they're failed Pookies. They're failed Pookies. See, the Pookie and Ray Ray are the type of males that a lot of these niggas always wanted to be, but they failed at it. So now they spend their miserable lives making content, talking shit about Pookies being successful with low tier females. How low down and pathetic can you be when you're jealous of low tier males for being able to get with low tier females? Because the type of females that these niggas cry about are the low hanging fruit of all females. The types of females that these niggas on here cry about are the types of females who are, and I'm not saying every single so-called black female like this. I'm just talking about a certain sect are disloyal, dishonest, ungrateful, miserable, have a low moral fiber, highly sexually promiscuous, deceitful, manipulative, abusive, evil, conniving, calculating. And these are the low tier females that these dumb niggas cry about. Imagine how pathetic you have to be when you waste your energy crying about these types of females not desiring to be with you. Shouldn't you be happy if these types of females do not desire to be with you? Isn't that a good thing? Isn't that a good thing? Shouldn't that be a good thing if these types of females do not desire to be with you? Because if these types, the way I look at it is that if these types of females, the types of females that I mentioned, right? If they do not desire to be with me, I look at it as a good thing because it must means that I'm doing something right in order for myself to be a repellent from these types of females. Because I don't want these types of females who have these qualities that I just mentioned to be anywhere around me. Why would I want that? Why for some vagina? I don't want they stink ass vag. The fuck? Like any man with any type of integrity, with any types of standards would come to the same conclusion that I came to a long time ago when it comes to what I just said. Like, think about it. If a female, because you got these niggas who always cry about how a certain sect of females don't find them attractive because they're not tall enough. And I'm like, okay, so let's just say this. Let's just say if that's true. If a female don't is not attracted to you, don't like you because you're not quote unquote, you know, 6'2" and some shit like that. What does that go to show you about about said female? What does that go to show you? If she's that shallow minded, it obviously means that she lacks standards. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing for a female to be attracted to be attracted to tall males. Okay, to each his own. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if a male have all these other great qualities in him, but a female says, he's not tall enough, so I don't want him. That brother's doing you a fucking favor, dumbass. But then again, I don't get why males are actually that worried about the standards of certain types of females. Okay, the fuck. That's right. Water seeks its own level. That's right. He said a culture invasion podcast says they need to level up, but they're too dumb to. Right. He said facts. Oh, incels and simps jealous of Pookie's living vicariously through low frequency fake alphas. Yeah, yeah. And let me tell you something. You have to be a very pathetic individual, right? To be jealous of Pookie's and Ray Rays. A person have to be a very pathetic person to envy Pookie and Ray Ray. Because Pookie and Ray Ray are very pathetic people themselves. And I say that with all due disrespect to the Pookies and Ray Rays of the world. Yes, I say that with all due disrespect to the Pookies and Ray Rays of the world. That Pookie and Ray Ray are very pathetic people. But if a person envies pathetic Pookie, then imagine how much more pathetic they have to be. You have to be even more pathetic than Pookie and Ray Ray to envy their ass. Because once again, Pookie and Ray Ray are low hanging fruits of society. You shouldn't be jealous of low hanging fruits of society. You should understand that you're better than them. You're better than them. And yes, yes, I say that with all due disrespect. You're better than these types of people. Or you should know that. Exactly. Bottom feeders fighting over dead scraps. What's up? What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, bottom feeders fighting over dead scraps. A damn shame. What's up, Bunker TV? What's going on? What's up? Oh, somebody. Oh, Johnny Mills. What's up, Johnny Mills? Johnny Mills says, I'm just sick and tired of dudes online complaining about women all the time. It starts to get old. It is. I mean, it's not. It didn't start to get old. It is very old. It's already very old. Spiritual Logic, aka Hawk, says many guys are living in an extended adolescence, chasing female sexual access alone and validation. Yeah, that's part of these niggas online living a second childhood on the internet. They're living a second childhood on the internet where they're reliving the teenage years that they wish they had, in which they're seeking female validation and female sexual access, which is a goddamn shame from low tier females. The Bunker TV says they taking all your names on one big list. Anything less than admiration for the women's will not be tolerated. Man, you better listen to Bunker, man. You better show admiration for the women's. You better show admiration for them. Nah, I'm playing. Now, I don't know if Bunker, if you're being, well, of course you're being facetious when you're saying that, but I don't know which angle that you're saying that. Are you saying that against towards what I'm saying or just in general? Yeah, Jacques Nick Kenobi says GSA.gov, register your business, research opportunities. This is interesting. Yeah. Oh, no problem. No problem. No problem. No problem, Jacques. No problem. Oh, okay. Okay, Bunker TV. I was just trying to, even if you disagree with me, that would be okay. I was just trying to understand which angle you're coming from. Like I said, I know you was being facetious when you said that, but I was trying to understand which angle you're coming from. That's all. He said, I'm starting a new group called hashtag body count bros. Oh shit. Yeah. But going back to what I was saying right earlier, I sort of derailed. But what I was stating earlier, excuse me, back to what I was stating earlier is that yeah, what black males should have been doing online in the first place is yes, you make content and speak about relevant issues that impact black America, especially its black males. And at the same time, use social media as a tool to bring like-minded people together, to organize together out in the real world in order to make an actual real change in the world that will benefit black America, especially its males. And the reason why I'm saying especially its males, because the so-called black male, like I said before, is basically the most disenfranchised demographic amongst all groups of people. So therefore, they need the most help. They need the most healing. And there's not enough entities or groups or organizations out there. There are some, but there's not enough organizations out there to help improve the plight of the black male collective. So we should have been doing that in the first place. We should be the ones doing that. But what you have with so-called black males within the past few years is that they just got stuck in making content, just talking shit and critiquing the opposite gender. They just got stuck with doing that. And then seeing a money-making opportunity when being stuck in that phase, and they're all right with that. They're all right with that. And at the same time, they see that when they just stick to just talking shit about the opposite sex, that they gain a large following, which means that they, no, excuse me, they gain a larger following, which which then transfers into a larger amount of the cash cow, and they're content with that. That's some loser shit. That's some fucking loser shit. That's some fucking loser shit, man. All these different super chats that all these, for all these years where you got so many people giving out these super chat donations, all these years where you have all of these people within this space giving out these cash app donations. Imagine how much progress we could have done if we actually donate all that money into a cause that will bring about new policies that would benefit black boys. Imagine that. Imagine if we donate our money and our earnings, right? In lobbying politicians to accept certain policies that would benefit inner city boys and revive initiatives such as the My Brother's Keeper initiative, which actually came from an initiative that was created by the former mayor of New York City named Mike Bloomberg. Because prior to Barack Obama having something called My Brother's Initiative, the former mayor of New York City, once again, his name is Mike Bloomberg, had an initiative called the Young Men's Initiative, where this Caucasian mayor created programs for inner city youth who was going in and out of prison, where they was trained to gain new skills as far as in the skilled trades department for so they can earn an honest, decent living, for so they won't have to go back and committing crime and going back to prison. Okay. And also had programs for young inner city boys in order for them to get their GED and actually get them educated for so they can actually they had this initiative, once again called the Young Men's Initiative, actually had initiatives where they can get some therapy, where they get guidance, and actually where they could learn how to actually be effective fathers, so they can actually be able to be involved in their children's lives and be the supportive and loving fathers that they should be. So that My Brother's Keepers initiative that Barack Obama created back in I think what 20, I forgot the year he created it, was an idea that came from the former mayor of New York City. Mhm. He said, I think you have decoded the manosphere with this live stream. Yeah, well, a lot of people have decoded the manosphere. You know, a lot of people have done that. Not just me, but thank you for giving me that credit. But the credit have to also go to a lot of people a lot of people who have decoded the manosphere. A lot of people have. Yeah, all of that is gone. All of that is gone, unfortunately. But thank you guys for watching and listening. I'm about to end this live stream. So shout outs to all you guys that came on here and showed your support. Thank you guys for listening. Shout outs to all you guys. I'm out. Peace. So, but before I leave, once again, the ultimate solution is that so-called black males online need to be organized and be politically active in order to create policies that would improve the conditions of the black male collective, and at the same time place the black male collective in a position of political power to be taken more seriously out there in the world. Thus would eliminate or actually drastically reduce the disrespect that they are currently receiving. And this is only done when you put yourself in a position of power systematically out there in the real world. If not, then what you will, if black males don't do that, then what you will continue to see, especially online, is these female content creators making these misandrous content while receiving little to no consequences as a result of doing that. Meanwhile, black males making content critiquing the opposite sex will continue to be deplatformed and or demonetized. You can't sit there and think that you could go online and critique a group of people with more political clout than you and think that there's not going to be any consequences as a result of that. The world just does not work that way. I mean, there is a reason why Kyrie Irving, let me bring up the whole Kyrie Irving situation. There is a reason why that Kyrie Irving got suspended when he put that link of a documentary that was supposedly quote unquote anti-Semitic. Reason being, and I made a video about this, is that Kyrie Irving belonged to a group of people that have little to no political power, and he said something that offended a group of people with more political power, way more political power than he does. You know what happens if you make the small hats mad? The small hats will utilize their political power to get you in trouble. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, what Kyrie Irving did was not wrong. He wasn't wrong for doing that. But when it comes to this game of power, right or wrong don't mean shit. What matters is if I have the power to fuck up your career. And a lot of so-called black people didn't understand that when it came to the whole Kyrie Irving situation. It was just this is just an example of what happens when a group of people or someone who come from a group of people with little to no power who do something to offend a group of people with more power than they do. And the same thing goes with Fresh and Fit. They belong to a group of people who have little to no power in America, but yet think that they could make content critiquing and upsetting a group of people that have more power than they do. If so-called black males do not organize together in order to establish not only political power, but also social economic power, then what you see with black males being receiving the shorter end of the stick will continue. It will continue. This society is built on respect for those who are in positions of power. And the reality is this, black males, the so-called black female have more political power than you. So when you walk around and go on a politically correct website like Google or YouTube, that's owned by Google, that's owned by the Alphabet Inc., and think that you could talk shit about a group of people with more power than you do and think that there's not going to be any consequences as a result of that, nigga, you smoking crack if you think you're not going to suffer if you think you're not going to eventually suffer the consequences as a result in talking shit about a group of people that have more power than you. This game's about power. And if so-called black males don't put themselves in a position of power, then things will only be worse for them and future generations of black males. So I hope this puts some food for thought for you motherfuckers. I'm out of here. Peace.